All right, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Nafi, Tambajang. Nafi, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
So, how are you?
I am good. It's a Sunday in Gambia and it's December season. That's always exciting.
Mm,
So no complaints, just a lot of, alhamdulillahs, no complaints. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Same thing. It's a Sunday. It's like winter right now here, so it gets dark very early. So a little bit boring, a little bit slow, kind of homesick a little bit.
I
So I
know.
don't know, but
We miss
overall,
you.
Alhamdulillah, I'm
That's
feeling good.
good. That's good.
Yeah, I
That's
miss I,
wonderful.
I miss you guys. I miss you guys way more. But is
Very
that the
good.
long version or the short version of that question? When you say how are you, there's the long version, the short version. What's the long version for that?
I lost you for
Yeah, it
like
seems like
two
we're having
minutes.
internet issues.
In Sweden,
Yeah, it's
in
saying,
abroad,
huh?
in abroad.
No, no, it's not here. It's from you actually.
Hey, Gambia. Let me go downstairs and call
Yeah,
you.
if
So
you
should
if
I
you're
just,
close to the Wi-Fi, maybe it'll be better. Yeah. Okay.
yes, I'll go downstairs now. Okay. Just give
Okay.
me a second. Give me a quick second. I'll be right back. Okay, can you hear me now? Like
Yeah, I can hear
properly?
you. Yeah, I can hear
Okay,
you good. Yeah. So,
awesome.
I think I asked you. So, what's the long version for that question? The how are you? When normally when we ask that, there's a short version and the long version. What's the long version?
The long version is I have a lot of shit to do. Life is lifing. Things are happening. And do I really need to go into all of that when someone asks me, how are you? But I mean, yeah, there's just a lot of work. I recently started working with my mom as her personal assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of political missions we do across Africa.
Yeah.
So that is always interesting, meeting politicians, world leaders, influencers, all kinds of people, and getting to work with them. And, having growing up and like learning about a lot of them to now
Mm-hmm.
being in the same room with them.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of research and a lot of relearning that I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes that can be a bit overwhelming. So
Yeah.
I guess that fits in the how are you? So I'm doing fine and better in that category.
Yeah.
My personal life, your auntie is not married. Do you understand? And being 30 and not being married, in the
Mm.
African setting can be a lot of pressure from the
Yeah.
aunties and everyone that is praying for you to have a husband.
That's true.
So hopefully with time, no pressure, no rush. What else about my life? And I'm still on my fitness journey. That's a
Yeah.
struggle. It's not
That's
easy.
amazing. I
Like
want to
every
talk
day
about that
having
later on.
to.
Like, I think that's one of the main reason why I always wanted to, like, I choose to have you on the show because, like, through time I thought about it. People that really inspire me, and you're one of them. And yeah, we never talked about it or
Oh,
anything. I think maybe I mentioned it to you one time before, but your journey inspired because I know what it takes to get through that type of journey. It's very difficult,
mm-hmm,
and it's very hard
mm-hmm,
mentally and physically. So, like, yeah, I cheer you for that a lot. So, we're
mm-hmm,
gonna get into that later, but
mm-hmm,
you talked about the marriage part. It's kind of annoying, that is
mm-hmm,
actually still happening in 2023, where we're still getting that pressure, till nowadays, where
mm-hmm,
as a woman,
mm-hmm,
if you're 30 or 28 or 27, that if you're not married, it's they start looking
mm-hmm,
at you or start telling you, like, it's kind of
mm-hmm,
annoying that that hasn't changed still. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
But
Sorry, I'm on an interview. Sorry.
who's that?
This is part of being in Gambia.
Who's that?
Sometimes on a Sunday, family friends visit. Hi, good evening. Calling is she's sleeping. Yes. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, but this is pretty normal.
Okay.
This is the beauty of
Bubakar,
podcasting.
I'll have to be moving. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I know this interview is going to be very all over the place.
Mm,
Unfortunately, this is the setting. I'll have to move locations now. So if you
okay.
can just bear with me. And I
No
hope
problem.
your audience will also bear with me. Thank you. This is another
this
part of
is
the how are you setting
this is amazing.
in
This is
in
the beauty of
Gambia.
online podcasting. in Gambia. Anyway, so like I told you, it was that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the podcast. But so when I was doing research, normally when I talk to people who are not
Mm-hmm.
family, it's so easy somehow to just go to the internet and just look, search them, go to LinkedIn, go to Google, YouTube, and just, find things that you guys
Mm-hmm.
gonna talk about. But with family, it becomes a little bit difficult because it's like you know each other, but there's certain things that you don't really know each other. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like me and you, we grew up
Mm-hmm.
around each other, but there's so many things that we never really talked about. You know what I mean? But when I was doing a research, I type your
Mm-hmm.
name. I was like Nafi Tambajang, and I saw your LinkedIn
Mm-hmm.
and then everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I want more. I want more. So I went to your Instagram. I was scrolling around. I saw everything, and then I
Mm-hmm.
went back to Google and then I typed elite African queen. And then the first picture that popped up
Mm-hmm.
was Queen Zinga. And then I remember that I saw the same picture
Oh,
that you had on Instagram of Queen Zinga. Who's Queen Zinga? Is she someone
yeah.
that is someone that is part of your life, like motivates you or something?
Yeah, she was an African queen, and she's often not spoken about. An African queen that was a warrior and that fought wars against colonizers. Oftentimes when
Mm.
history is told, women are left out, but we're also part of it. And it shows that there's no limit to what a woman can do, regardless of our sex. We're just as strong as men. We're not stronger, but we're just as strong. Um, so she's just someone that I thought
Hmm.
was very interesting to learn about, and I felt like everyone should get a chance to watch it. It's on Netflix, produced by Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Where is she
And she
from?
also produced Cleopatra. It was they couldn't pinpoint specifically what country, so it was kind of fictional. I think it
Okay.
was somewhere Southern Africa, but they
Mm.
couldn't pinpoint exactly the country because they had to pick up bits and pieces from the history.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it wasn't like a specific country in Southern Africa, but
Okay,
somewhere
that's
around
interesting.
there.
I'll check it out. I'll definitely check it out. Sounds interesting.
It's so good. Yeah.
Nowadays they've really been trying to put
Angola,
Africa.
Angola. Sorry,
Angola. Okay, okay.
Angola.
I'll
Yeah,
check it out.
I
I'll
just
check it out. That's
remembered.
interesting because I watched the
Yeah,
Woman King
Angola.
movie, and I know there was a lot of backlash. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, with Viola Davis, I saw
Yeah.
it.
What did
Yeah,
you
it was
think
a good
about that
movie.
movie?
It was good. It was good.
Yeah.
I mean, women are king women from time. We were always
Yeah.
part of the process. It was a lot of fiction, but it was good.
Yeah, because
Definitely
like a lot
represented.
of black people were not really happy about the way they portrayed everything because that I
Hmm.
forgot the name of the I forgot the name of the tribe or whatever that was actually selling their own
Hmm.
people to the white
Hmm.
people. So,
But
and it
that's the
seemed like
truth.
it brought a little bit of backlash. But overall, I loved the film. Like I loved the
But that's the
acting
truth.
was
We sold
great.
ourselves
Yeah,
for
we
some
did.
spices and mirrors.
I swear, it's crazy. It's crazy. So we somehow
Yeah,
we do have a hand in it, but
yeah.
still, yeah.
But we were
But
manipulated. Lack of
exactly,
education.
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Mm,
Now,
yeah.
when normally on the show, I try to understand the person more,
Mm,
even though we know
mm,
each other. But there's so many
mm,
things, like I said, I don't know about you, especially
mm,
back in your childhood.
mm,
And if you could just, because you're always this energetic, positive, confident person since I known you, since we were young,
mm,
and I want to understand how did you become this person? Who was
mm,
the Nafi in your childhood?
mm,
What were your early experiences and your memories
mm,
that made you
mm.
or mold you into the character that you are right now? So if you could just
Yeah,
take me back.
yeah. I'll start with public speaking. When I
Mm-hmm.
was 5 years old, I remember I gave a speech at my primary school,
Mm-hmm.
and then I also recited a poem. So that's where my love for public speaking came from, and my confidence came from. And then also looking out in the crowd and seeing my dad there, and also being a scout girl, seeing my dad support me through all of that, through the camps, the marches, everything. So in my early childhood, I had a very complicated childhood. Born in 92, went to the US in 94, came back in 96, went back in 98.
Mm-hmm.
Back and forth a lot most of my life between Gambia and the US, and then
Mm-hmm.
lived in Ghana. I grew up with my dad mostly until I was about 15, until he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So we were very close growing up. I was a daddy's girl. He was a police officer, a Central Intelligence
Mm-hmm.
officer. He also has a background in hospitality
Mm-hmm.
towards his retirement years. I had a happy childhood. Thank God I was fortunate enough to not go through some of the harsher realities that a lot of Gambian females have to go through in terms of FGM. Fortunately for me, I was never a victim, but
Mm-hmm.
when we were younger, I used to lie and say that I had gone through that because it was like a
Why?
thing where it was a thing in Gambia, like sunhamene, like you've never been haraf. It's like ki mom dafa yabate harafalung ko mota. So
Mm.
so I learned to sing some of the
Really?
songs
That's
when I
crazy.
was young. Yeah, yeah, it was a thing when I was younger. Like haraf is like was pride. Nekuton
Mm.
a thing for women to be ashamed of or anything like that.
Mm.
It was like, oh, kiduga na haraf, like
Mm.
kidugut haraf. And Mandinkas would say Sulimandingo, which is an insult.
Circumcision, yeah. Is this a circumcision?
Sulimandingo.
Okay.
No, Sulimandingo. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Mm.
Which was deemed as an insult and stuff like that. But then,
Mm.
so yeah, in terms of that, I didn't have that traumatic experience. However,
Mm.
the the fact that I travel in between countries a lot, and my entire lifetime I've been to about 9 schools. Like
Mm.
that's a lot of schools to go through,
Yeah.
and
Did that
so
affect
it
you
got a
anyhow?
little, yeah, like always having to leave your friends behind.
Mm.
That was a little sad, but I also have a personality where I make a lot of friends, so it wasn't that hard for me. But
Mm.
I had some sad moments where I always was confused as to my dad used to, beat me. Yeah, and
Mm.
in America, that's like
Yeah.
illegal to hit your child, and I didn't understand
And
that
how
until I
old were
came
you?
to Gambia.
How old were you at that time?
I was like 7. I think the
Mm.
first time was when I came to Gambia.
Were you
I saw
very
him
like
at the
stubborn
airport.
at that time, or like, or
I was stubborn, but I was just a regular kid. We need
mm.
to stop beating our kids a little bit too much. We can discipline them,
Mm.
Monkey dance. There's other ways, there's other strategies,
But it's still a
face
form
the
of
wall.
punishing, right? It's still, yeah,
It is. But
yeah,
I'm nanjiring tuti. Gis
yeah.
nanjiring bituti bumamage because it really shaped me into who I am. I'm so lucky that I speak Wolof and I speak Mandinka, and that comes from, my early years in Gambia, playing with
Mm.
the kids, being around family.
Mm.
So I appreciate that.
But
Yeah, that was
in
pretty
terms
much.
of your character, like, do you believe, like, who do you think you've inherited your characteristic from? Like, from your mom, from your dad, or from your sisters?
Mm,
Like, where did that come from? Or were you
yeah.
just born
So
with
in
it?
Yeah. So in terms of self-respect, that definitely came from my older sisters because I have 3 older sisters,
Mm-hmm.
and I always looked at how they moved with
Mm-hmm.
relationships, how they moved with friendships, how they moved with, family,
Yeah.
and they always set good examples. So I always felt like, damn, the pressure is on. Like I can't mess up. My siblings are doing this right. They're doing their education right. I have to make sure that I live up to that. So that was
Mm-hmm.
always a good example for me to look to. And my character development came more so, I would say, from both parents. Like in terms of politics,
Mm-hmm.
that comes from my mom.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of being kind and passionate, that comes from my dad, my
Mm-hmm.
mom as well. But in terms of being like very tidy, like neat, that comes from my dad because he was a police officer and a
Mm-hmm.
disciplinarian. So
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot about making my bed and making sure things are organized. And if you find
Yeah.
something this way, make sure you return it that way. I have a pet peeve.
Mm-hmm.
When you put something down a different way than I put it
Yeah.
there, it bothers me. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think it comes from my parents, and my grandmother was a businesswoman.
Mm-hmm.
She used to sell peanut butter, and she
Mm.
had a herd of cattle, my mom's mom. So the business part, I feel like I took from her, but also my granddad, Karamo Tambajang, was also a trader back in the day. He also traded a bit in kola nuts and
Mm.
general goods. So I think I take that from my maternal and
Yeah.
paternal side of the
So
family.
your father, of course, is someone very important in your life because me and you never really talked about him, and I never asked, which is a terrible thing. And in my understanding, he passed when you were 15. And as
Yeah.
you already said, that you guys were very young. I mean, you guys were very
Mm-hmm.
close, and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
even know that because I think I saw it on your social that actually
Mm-hmm.
he passed when you were 15. Because I always had this
Mm-hmm.
idea that he passed way, like when you were like much younger. But if you could, you've mentioned him a little bit, but if you could just paint a picture more on certain
Mm-hmm.
memories or qualities that
Mm-hmm.
stands out when you think about him, and like
I
who was
loved
he
how
like who was he?
who was he?
Hmm.
Okay, his name was Muhammad Ali Tambajang. Some call
Hmm.
him Mama Kali, some call him Ali, MHK, all of that. He was a police officer for 15 years.
Wow.
Like I said, background in hospitality as well towards retirement years. But he was a kind person. He loved
Mm.
family. He would do anything for his family. Like he was obsessed with his family. He would make sure I visited every uncle. I mean, at your house,
Hmm.
my dad, suma papa mo dohlo nyun sun digante.
Mm.
Like both sides, my mom and my dad's side, he would take me to your dad's house for the weekend and ensure
Mm.
I did that. He didn't have to take me there. He could have been like, oh, they're related to my wife, so she doesn't really need to be
Yeah,
around
true.
them as much. But
That's
he made
amazing.
sure I went everywhere. Banjul, I spent weekends at Banjul with Yanene. I spent so many weekends at your house in Pipeline. The same with them Alima growing up in Fajikunda. So my dad made sure that both sides of my family, his side and my side, were
Hmm.
incorporated in who I was going to become as an adult. And
Hmm.
he was a he was a very unique person. He dressed very nice. He always dressed neat. He always had the most, crisp
Hmm.
clothing when it comes to a piece of clothing being ironed. Like he
Hmm.
always was like that. Very particular, very intelligent. I
Hmm.
have yet to see like in terms of intelligence, police force. Wow,
Hmm.
like people used to be so scared of him. Like in Banjo, whenever they hear Tambajang is coming, like even the boys that will smoke weed, they will swallow their weed.
Mm.
Like when they hear my dad
He
is
was
coming.
intimidating.
He was intimidating. He
Hmm.
was a force. He walks into a room and you just feel his energy.
Hmm.
He walks into a room. Actually, there's a picture of him right here. That's him right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of you
Mm-hmm.
always post pictures of him on your social
Mm-hmm.
media, and I thought it was just something that I really was curious about to know more about him because I never knew him, I never met him. Even though
Mm-hmm.
we're like the same age when he passed
Yeah.
away. Because for people who don't know, who are listening, me and Nafi were born the same night.
I know. In the
So
same
October
hospital.
7th. You wanna tell the story because I don't know. You're older than me.
Yeah, yeah, by a day. So we were born in the same
Is it by a
hospital, a
day
day
though?
apart. It's a day. It's 24
Mm.
hours. Oh, I smelled fresh air before you smelt it. I sucked breast milk before you now.
Ah, okay, I see.
So yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. We were born in the same hospital, same
mm,
family. So people would get out of my mom's room and go into your mom's room,
mm.
which I thought was pretty cool.
That's
And
cool.
we were so close. You and I were so close, man.
Mm,
What happened? We were like this. You remember when we were younger? I
yeah,
even wore your clothes.
yeah. I remember they were. The thing is, there's so many things I forgot in my life, which is so sad. Partying too much just wiped out so many things in my brain. And now that
I
you just said
remember
it, I
so.
remember there were times when we used to sneak out to go out to
Yeah,
clubbing, and you
yeah.
one time you wore my
I wear your
shoes
clothes.
or like
Yeah, your
my
shirt
my my,
and your
my
Timberlands. Your Timberlands,
yeah.
I
Oh
remember.
my
You remember?
God, that's
And your
crazy.
jerseys. And we would
Yeah,
go out everywhere. We were so close. People were like, "Are you dating Bubakar?" I'm like, "That's my nephew. You guys are gross. I'm his
yeah,
auntie."
yeah.
We were
And it's
that
gonna
close.
people who are listening probably gonna be like nephew and auntie, and we were born the same
I
same
know.
night. Yeah, it is what it is.
Africa.
That's just blood.
Africa,
Yeah,
Africa.
yeah.
They will embarrass you. I'm even a grandmother
Mm.
at my young age. I have a
so
grandson.
so with your father, like, do you miss him?
Yes, I miss him so much because she showed me what a man should be in terms of character,
Mm.
in terms of how you treat a woman. He
Mm-hmm.
loved, my dad loved. He wasn't the typical Gambian man. He was very supportive. He would be
Mm.
there for every show, every event. He would be there cheering you on. he was always proud of
Mm-hmm.
his child and
Mm-hmm.
never afraid to give you your shine, you know. And that's one thing I really loved him. He had a clean heart.
Mm-hmm.
He had a very clean heart, and he gave me a lot of good advice on men, on life, on his relationship with my mother, which is not common for a typical Gambian guy to sit
Yeah.
down and talk to you and tell you some of the things that he's been through with your mother. And these things stay with you and they're ingrained in you, and
Mm.
you just want to emulate and take the good from that and know that nobody is perfect. So he was always a
That's
realist
beautiful.
in that way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was always a
Like,
realist in that
I
way.
can't imagine because, I relate to losing a parent, even though I was much older, but I'm still dealing with
Yeah.
understanding it, right? Like, how did you
Mm-hmm.
deal with that? Especially because I was
Yeah.
very close to my dad also. But even though
Mm-hmm.
I spent most of my time in boarding school, but we still had
Mm-hmm.
just this special bond, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
there's just something about me being so like attached to people who lost their dads. I don't know, it's just like a thing. Or any
Mm-hmm.
films that I watch that has to do with someone losing their dad, it's just something that I want to see, someone that I want to talk to, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
still trying to going through my own journey of accepting
Mm-hmm.
that it happened. Like, how did you deal with, like, at that age, at 15, because that's
Yeah.
considered still very young, like, how did you deal with that?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really hard, especially I was the only one in the country at the time. My mom was in
Mm,
England, studying a degree in Arabic studies. All my siblings were in the US. Nobody was here. It was, I have 7 siblings. And no one was here at the time. It was me. So in those moments, it was really a time where I had to put my big girl panties on and just play his role. You know, I would sit next to my dad when there was a naming ceremony, when there was a
mm,
funeral. He had an address book with Sana Kunda, Jala Kunda, Tambajang Kunda, Komma
mm,
Kunda, Singate Kunda, and you would have all the elders, their numbers and their names. So he would be the one in the family to call and say, this person is getting married, this person has had a baby, this person has passed away. So growing up and seeing him do that, when he passed away, I had to be the one to make those phone calls, which was really tough. You
mm.
know, having to call people and tell them, Assalamu alaikum, it's Nafi. I just want to tell you, my
Yeah.
dad passed away. That was really tough for me to do. So I had to put my big girl panties on.
Mm-hmm.
And then also having to handle the finances because, you know, in Gambia, funerals, a lot of money comes in, a
Yeah.
lot of gifts come in. So I had to also make sure everything was in order for my mom to meet here because my dad passed away on a Friday. My mom couldn't make it till Gambia until Tuesday. In fact, my dad was buried without my mom being here.
Mm.
So it was a lot for me to do. And after when that happened, it took me 3 years to fully move on. You know,
How
it
did you
was
move
so
on?
drastic. It was
How did you
drastic.
move on?
You move on, but you never heal.
Hmm.
That's the thing. Because you know life moves on, right?
Hmm.
People come to the funeral, they're sad, they go back into their cars, they go back to their lives.
Yeah.
As you do too. You keep moving, even though it feels like you're in a trance. However, you just still move, you know, you still survive. So for me, it took me 3 years to be able to talk about it without crying drastically. Whenever someone asked me about my dad, I would cry, you know. How
Hmm.
did I move on? I think time just heals all wounds.
Hmm.
I can't even tell you a guidebook to moving on
Hmm.
at that age. I can't tell you that. It was like when I was 19 was when I was like, you know, being okay that my dad had passed away and he's not in my life. But in the moment, it was very difficult. It was very hard. Um, I wouldn't wish that on any 15-year-old. And it was also a very
Yeah.
confusing moment. But
Because
I'm
I can't
grateful for
imagine
the
you having to
religion.
at that age having to deal with all the finances, calling people,
Yeah.
and it's the
Mm-hmm.
beauty of, like, yeah, it's just having those books that, of course, nowadays we don't have that because everybody has a
Wallahi,
telephone now,
listen.
but it's
Wallahi.
just that just kind of tells the kind of person he was, because most of the
Mm-hmm.
time when people always keep those books. I remember, I think my mom or my dad also had those. And
Mm-hmm.
when you open it, you see, like, in category, like,
Okay.
like how in the
Wallahi.
contact list,
Mm-hmm.
everyone's number, it's there,
Mm-hmm.
the family name,
Mm-hmm.
and then each one's number.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such an amazing thing, the way that they used to, like, handle those situations. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
talking about calling people, I remember also same thing in my dad's when he
Wow.
passed. And for me, it was the other way because they had to call me and tell me, but then I had to like wake my sisters up and tell them. And that
Wow.
was like, I, I think from till today, like for me, it's like a difficult thing. I can talk about it and not cry, but I still
Mhm.
get tears. You know what? I still get
Mhm.
watery eyes. I don't know how to
Mhm.
deal with it still.
Mhm.
I think I remember waking up Zahra and then waking up Aja and then having to tell them, waking up Hadi Jane because she was in our house at
Mhm.
that time, telling them, and then they're all crying, and I'm standing there. I remember Auntie Hadi calling me, talking to me, and telling me that this is the moment now, this is growth, you know.
Mhm.
So I'm still trying to understand the gift and the pain in it
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
losing a father, but it's like it's still lingering, you know, around your mind again and again and
Mhm.
again. It's like I start to even question now, like, what value do I even get for this being here
Mhm.
for so
Mhm.
long? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I'm happy that you've able to move on, you know, because
Mhm.
you know it's I'm sure it's an amazing thing, you know,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
it's a very tough thing to deal with, you know,
Yeah.
especially for
And I
you at that
think
age.
I appreciate there was this lady who was my mom's friend, a white
Mm.
lady, and everybody's telling you, no pin, yala bahna, yala kanye.
Yeah.
This lady said, cry, girl, let it out.
Mm.
Let the tears come out. Let it
Mm.
out. So cry, you know? So I think the tears that I cried through the years really helped me. Because you know some
Mm.
people they hold it in and then they
Yeah.
react in different ways.
True. True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I cry.
Do you
I
do
cry.
you feel like do you feel like after your dad passed, some of the trouble or drama you've had is because you didn't have time to heal
Hmm.
and you were
Of
lashing out
course, of course, a lot of it,
because
and
of
that's what
that?
I'm talking about. Even the gift and the pain of it, because I still don't
Mhm.
understand, and it's still lingering in my
Mhm.
mind, or
Mhm.
is actually affecting so many things that are happening in my life. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because I just don't know
Mhm.
how to deal with it. You know, so
Mhm.
it's still there. I remember one
But you
person
know what
coming to me,
helps?
actually asking me for money on that day, asking me for money on that day, like telling me, we need you to give us money so we could go ahead and get this and this. I'm like, seriously, you're asking me for that? Me? So it was really
Yeah, it's the
strange.
pressure being
Yeah,
a man in an African household, and then not only your dad, you lost a brother, you lost an
yeah,
older brother.
yeah.
So
So it was just
two
me.
adult male
Mm,
figures
yeah,
in your life.
yeah,
That's a lot. Now you're the only guy. That's a lot of
yeah,
pressure. I don't want to
yeah.
be in that
It's a
situation.
scary thing because you know
Yeah.
having my sisters really help. You know, and I'm sure also you have your sisters. Like how do you guys deal with your like that situation? Because they were much older. How do you guys
Yeah.
heal together and talk about it in a very
There wasn't,
in a very
honestly,
healthy
there
manner?
wasn't. I didn't really get that because
Mm,
when my
okay.
dad died, it was just my mom. I think my
Mm,
mom helped me more so with
mm,
that. Yeah, it was my mom at
yeah.
the time. My siblings were in the US. I was
Mm,
in Gambia with my mom. So I would
mm,
just talk to her about my feelings or how I'm feeling, about
mm,
my confusion, and she would just help me process. That really
mm.
made me and my mom close.
Yeah. That's
Hmm.
that's beautiful because it's very rare in a lot of African homes. You don't really get that. You know, I'm
Hmm.
lucky. Me and my sisters we could talk about it, but it was still
Hmm.
a little bit difficult. It's like there's
Yeah,
shyness of just bringing it out. You know what I mean? Like it becomes
right,
this
right.
awkward thing. So like
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
had to wander around being alone. You know, because
Wallahi.
you can't turn back anymore and look behind because he's not there
Hmm.
anymore
Hmm.
to be like I got your back. You know, now you're just there
Hmm.
alone.
Hmm.
So even like
Hmm.
with daily life with marriage issues and all these things, and you turn back and it's like, oh, it's a lonely road. It's just you as a guy. So it
Yeah.
becomes this burden. You know what I mean? But
Mm.
that's
That
where
you
the
don't want to
growth
put
comes
on
in.
people. Yes,
Yeah,
that,
but that's where
yeah,
the growth comes in. you know
exactly.
yeah, but it's
Exactly.
yeah, it is what it is. It's hard,
But do you know
and
what helps
mm,
in all of this? The most important factor
hmm
and what helped is religion,
hmm
the belief in God. For me, being a Muslim,
yeah,
like just knowing that this is part of life, we live to die. Like when you understand that, and when you
hmm
understand that, you know, every single soul will taste death,
hmm
regardless of who you are. You come to accept it. I think my
true.
dad passing away made me stronger for
hmm
every single death that was going to happen after that. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I understand this is life. It's gonna happen. And it
Mm.
also showed me that live your life. Be true to
Yeah.
yourself. Don't let people stress you, because my dad was someone who put all his family matters on top of his head.
Mm.
Any problem there was in the family, he wanted to get involved and help out. Always. So I think, that also taught me to take some time for myself
True.
and not stress myself over other people's problems, because you'll die and leave them here anyways, or you'll be in the hospital and not a lot of people are going to show up to care for you. So,
Mm.
yes, you can care for other people, but care for yourself even more. And that's
True.
okay.
True. That's important. I see. I see you.
Mm-hmm.
You're definitely taking care of yourself. You're traveling around. You know, taking care. You
Mm-hmm.
definitely take care of yourself. In that part, I haven't really done very, very good.
I
I'm
just had a
still.
massage
Huh?
at home. I just had a massage at home 1 hour before I spoke to you.
I earlier I was sitting with my daughter and I just looked at my feet and they just look so bad. I'm like, oh my god, Cherno, you need to take care of yourself. I've just been working and
That's
working and
so
working.
funny.
Anytime my wife mentioned Cherno, you need to just
Yeah.
take care of yourself. I'm like, no, not yet, not yet, not yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to do better. I need to definitely do better with
Mm-hmm.
that. But with the religious part you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
that's what changed me because even though I grew up in a religious home, after that, I kind of just left everything because that's how I dealt with my dad's passing. I
Mm-hmm.
was just with friends all the time, partying, just to kind of block the noise. You know what I mean? So I didn't really
Mm-hmm.
grieve until I stopped. Even
Exactly.
Kendrick Lamar said it in one of his songs. Like you don't something about you don't know grief until you're sober or something like that, and that's when
Mm-hmm.
everything start
Yes.
coming in. That's when the feelings start coming
Yes.
in. That's when the trauma start
Yep.
coming in, even the childhood
Yep.
memory, like everything started coming in, and it's just so much. You're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my god, like what is this? And
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
religious part helped me a lot because start praying more five
Mm-hmm.
times a day, making sure I read my
Mm-hmm.
Quran again, make
Exactly.
sure
Mm-hmm.
like since then I've never
Mm-hmm.
missed a prayer again, like ever.
Mm-hmm. Mashallah.
Like it
Mashallah.
becomes a part of me now. So that's what
Mashallah.
helps a
Mm-hmm.
lot. But as a human being, you still deal with
Mm-hmm.
those things because we're human, we're fragile. Even the prophet when he
Yeah.
lost his
Mm-hmm.
like he lost everything, and he was a
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
prophet, but he still would cry, he still would be
Mm-hmm.
traumatized.
Mm-hmm.
He went through mental health issues,
Mm-hmm.
he went to depression, and
Mm-hmm.
that's been mentioned. So, but in our
Mm-hmm.
culture, it's not, they don't like talking about it. Even in Islam, in certain
Mm-hmm.
scholars, when you
I
talk
went
about it
through
with them,
depression before.
yeah, they tell you,
I went through depression,
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
but it
it's a
wasn't because
horrible
of my
thing.
dad.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of my dad. My depression was I don't want to be in America.
Why?
At the time, I I just was over it. You know, when you
Mm.
just live somewhere for so long, at some
How old were
point,
you?
I just didn't want to be there. This was when I was 20,
Mm. Was this after high school
20,
or?
21,
Mm.
21, 21.
Okay.
Yeah, way
Mm.
after high school, 21. But I also was, in a weird way, I was also a depressed child.
Mm.
Even though I was happy, I also had that side. I found an old diary of mine, which I was reading the other day, and it was
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, I was kind of a depressed child.
That's
Yeah,
interesting
I didn't
because as I
understand.
said in the beginning, that you've always had this energy, positive, confident. But most of the time, when you think about it, is most of the time when a person is like that, they always look at it like there's something under that is like
There is.
creeping down
Not
there.
now though.
Yeah.
Not now. Now this
Mm.
bad gal, she love herself. She's popping. Eh?
Yeah.
This one right here, but
Mm.
that one right there, back in the day,
Yeah.
yes,
How
yes.
did you
I was,
overcome
I
it?
was.
How did you overcome that?
Uh, honestly, my love for Africa, my
Mm.
love for Pan-Africanism. Like, there's a post on my Instagram where
Mm.
I posted Patrice Lumumba, Robert Mugabe, Nelson Mandela, Thomas Sankara,
Mm.
and just reading and discovering these people, like, helped
Mm.
me understand my passion and understand
Mm.
my purpose in life, which
Mm.
is to be a good example for Africa, to
Mm.
free and liberate my people, to
Mm.
be a part of change in any capacity. So I found a new love, and it was Africa. Even though
That's
I was far
interesting.
away, I was so connected to the continent and
Mm.
my identity of who I am as a Black person.
Mm.
Frantz Fanon, who was a Black activist and also a writer, he talked about there's a journey in every Black person's life when you know you're Black from the day you're born, where you have a moment where you come to face with your identity. And it goes two ways. It could go into you denying and being in a state of rejection of your identity, or you appreciating your identity and knowing your value and knowing your worth. And for him, he said it happened to him when he went to Paris and a 5-year-old kid asked the parent, like, why this guy is Black. He looks dirty. And then he said he looked at himself and he's like, I don't see myself any different. I mean, I know our skin colors are different, but we're all human beings. But he had to go back and relearn his history to understand himself. So I think this new me now understanding what it is to be Black, understanding my background, my culture, and understanding my value means no one can break that in me, because
Mhm.
we come from not only kings and queens, we come from warriors, we come from business people, all
Mhm.
kinds of people. I mean, the first human um, feces was found in Africa. If you go
Yeah.
back to science, you know, migration is how
Mhm.
we had different colors. But
Yeah.
even if you read the Quran, the description of Adam in Arabic means black.
Mhm.
The description in the Bible, made from dust and clay, God let it sit for 7 days before he created
Mhm.
him.
Min hama
What
in
color is
masnoon,
dust and clay?
black clay. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
when you understand the first human being was
Yeah.
black and everybody
Mm.
else came after that, you understand why there's an agenda
Mm.
to break us down because
Mm.
of the power that we possess. So when you
Mm.
know about the power that you possess,
Mhm.
nothing can shake you.
Because you understand your values, right? I mean, it's interesting. I never really
Exactly.
heard about that. Most of the time, when you ask people how they overcome their depression, they can just say other
Mhm.
things that are very basic things, like either they start
Mhm.
exercising or whatever. But the fact that it's actually figuring out or finding your purpose and actually understanding where you're
Yep.
from and your identity, that's
Yep.
actually very
Yep.
deep. Yeah. So I
Mhm.
I, I haven't
Yeah.
got into that part yet. I haven't got to that, and that's
Mhm.
something maybe I should actually really
Mhm.
be starting to think about. Because a lot of the
Yeah.
times, even
Yeah.
I deal with that, figuring out my
Mhm.
identity, like who I am, like where I'm from.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
just the basic of
Mhm.
just trying to understand where my dad is from,
Mhm.
because I know he's from
Mhm.
Guinea, but he's never been to Guinea.
Mhm.
He never met his
Mhm.
mom, right? And I think
Mhm.
about all
Mhm.
these things. I'm like, it's like there's
Mhm.
still a missing part about me
Mhm.
still that I still don't know. That's why when I
Mhm.
did that,
Mhm.
I did a podcast with Modu Mambure,
Mhm.
and the reason why I did it was because he was talking about a lot about this ayahuasca retreats and everything,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
because it was a little bit tempting to go there and try to do it, because
Mhm.
like how he explains it, it makes you see so many things. Even though like you have
I mean,
discovered yours. Yeah.
there's so many. I know what you mean. Those, yeah. There's a lot in this world to see
Yeah, there's a
and
lot in
discover.
this world, like with the frequency and like how we
Mhm.
are as human beings. Like we're very deep beings, and understanding
Mhm.
who we are, like deep down, that
Mhm.
identity, that's gonna really make you figure out, like,
Mhm.
where you're going. You know what I mean? So it's something I'm still searching for, still something that I'm
Mhm.
still looking for. But that's
Mhm.
amazing, and I'm glad that you've overcome that. And because I've seen
Yeah.
it in you, I've seen your growth, I've seen your change.
Mhm.
And like we talked
Mhm.
about in the beginning, your transformation journey was one of the most amazing thing you did. And
Mhm.
how much part was that also in your overcoming your depression and all that? Was that part of it also, or was this something
No,
just
because this
completely different?
transformation, my depression was about 10 years ago.
Mm.
So, but this transformation came from a bad relationship. To be honest,
Wow.
uh, two things: a bad relationship, and one day being completely in my baby state in the mirror, if you know
Mm.
what I mean, and looking at myself and saying, how did I get here? I had an ex-boyfriend who told me, you're so fat and ugly and dark skin, because he wanted to get under my skin. So the dark skin didn't bother me,
Well, was
but
he
the
saying that
fat,
as an
I said,
insult?
yeah, we were in an argument, and he
Okay.
called me those things. So the dark skin didn't bother me, but
What the fuck?
the fat, I said, I'm really fat, eh? I mean, people tell me I'm fat, but I didn't really see it because I dress really nice and I'm fly. and I'm popping. But I went in the
Mm-hmm.
mirror one day and I'm like, oh, shoot, you're really fat. Like, how did you get here? And I was like, I have to do something about this. I cannot go into my 30s being 121 kilos. This was during the pandemic in 2020, is when I started my journey during COVID. I said, okay, I'm going to start a business, which was I had a face mask business that I was doing. And I was doing classes remotely online and working out, man. And working out. Three things. Ah, I'm a beast. So those times were just, I just had to push myself to work out, do my courses, and make sure that I was also doing my business. So that's where my weight loss journey started, from a bad relationship to me motivating myself because I want to be healthy and I want to be fit. And I just loved how much energy I got from exercise. After exercising, I would feel good about myself and get a natural high, get natural endorphins, you know?
Yeah, but you
Mangladig,
froze you froze for like 30 seconds.
Gambia,
All
why,
right.
why? No.
So you were telling me about your um relationship that ended and what he
Mm-hmm.
said to you. Can you repeat that?
Oh, yeah, so he called me fat, ugly, and dark skin because he wanted to piss me off. The dark skin part didn't really bother me. However, the fat, I was like, I'm still bagging him. He's calling me fat
Mm-hmm.
now, but his uncle is one of the
Mm-hmm.
richest men in Africa, and I'm still bagging him. So I don't see any
Yeah.
problems there. But one day I went in the mirror, I looked at myself and I said, wow, you really let yourself get here. My stomach was so huge. I looked like I was
Mm-hmm.
7 months pregnant. And I said, you know what? I have to do something about this. I have to change my life for myself and to prove him wrong. In the beginning, that was my intention. However, throughout my journey, that changed with time
Mm-hmm.
because now it went from
Of course.
a bad relationship to wanting to be healthy and to understanding how much lighter I feel and being able
Mm-hmm.
to do so many squats and legi dama de siga si suf, and my friends are like, hey, how can you squat that low? Like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, girl, y'all gotta start working out. I got the mega knees,
Yeah.
okay? Got the mega knees.
So so when you start, that was the fuel that you used. That was the anger that you used
Yeah,
to start with your
yeah,
journey.
yeah.
How was your first workout like? Can you remember your first workout? How was that like?
It was
What
in
was the
this room.
anger?
It's even a manifestation that I'm in this room. This is my sister's room, Khadija. Growing up, she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't live here anymore. She lives in Senegal now, but it was in her room
Yeah.
because I grew up watching her exercise in this same room. I would walk past her
Mm-hmm.
like, "Ki mom, mungere bopam fi did do all these jumping
Doing
jacks
all jumping
and
jacks and
everything."
stuff.
Ah, and I would just go past her to go to order afra and eat it in the kitchen. In fact, every time I went out, when I came home, I would make sure I ate a lot of food, which is so sad. But I started it in this room and I started it from jogging in place, actually.
Mm.
Jogging in
That was
place.
the first.
I would just stand up and start just in one place, just start jogging because it
Mm-hmm.
was COVID. I didn't feel like going outside to work out and all these things. So I would jog in place for 30 minutes every day. And then that went to running in place. And then from then, I got confidence to go to the beach and start jogging and running on the beach with tires tied around my waist. I would tie a tire to my waist and run with it on the
Mm.
beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever? Because I remember my first workout. This was like the time when I was in Saudi, and I remember sitting in Auntie Zahra's house, always
Mm-hmm.
playing video games, drinking a lot of Red Bulls, and staying late at night, not sleeping. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember my first was actually a workout called. It was a fit test. It was a
Mm-hmm.
this old insanity like DVD
Mm-hmm.
workout program that I started. In my first one, I did it. I actually puked. I actually puked all over the living room. You
Oh,
know.
shoot.
Nafi, can you hold on one second?
Yes.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
I'm on. I don't remember then. I don't think I remember. It's either 1008 or it's um or it's 0221. No, I don't change it. I just don't use it so much, so I forgot. Try that. Okay. I don't even remember. Okay. Yeah, my wife is using my card, and I don't remember my code because I don't use my card at all.
Huh?
That's crazy.
That's so funny.
I don't
Woman.
know what she's gonna do right now. Oh my god, I don't remember. I don't remember. But yeah. So I remember like doing my first that workout program, and then I puked all over the bathroom, and it was just so
Mm-hmm.
intense. You know, it was just so disgusting and intense. But that was like a moment. That was just like a beginning of something for me. That was just like felt this amazing, felt this adrenaline. You know what I mean? You know. But like
Mm-hmm.
overall, like how has your journey been so far now? Are you still on it? Are you still on and off? Like what has it changed
I've
into
been
now?
I've been consistent. In the last 3 years, the most I took off from working out was 2 months. And those 2 months affected me. I
Mm-hmm.
gained, I lost 23 kilos. Then I gained about 7 kilos. In those 2 months, I was just chilling and enjoying, not working out and partying. So now, in fact, working out has made partying a difficult task. I don't want to go out as much
Mm.
anymore. Like, I went out yesterday for the
Yeah.
first time in 6 months. I don't want to, you
Wow.
know, I don't want to go and get tired and fatigue, come back, and then having to wake up to work out. You get lazy. Like, I have my routine.
Mm.
Now, before I go out, I make sure I work out before I go out for sure, once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
It changes your social life. I don't care
How
when
was
things
your
get
daily
constant.
routines like? Do you work out in the morning or do you work out in the night? Like how is
It's
it
all
like?
over the place. It's all over the place. So
Mm.
my preference is in the mornings, but sometimes it could be in the
Mm.
evenings, sometimes at night, late at night. Sometimes it could be 11 p.m. I could feel like, oh, it's almost 12 a.m. I need to close my rings now before it's 12 a.m. because I didn't work out all day. So it depends also on the
Yeah.
day that I'm having, because sometimes I can have a really heavy day, just tired,
Mm.
fatigued, lazy. So, excuse me, I just try my best to kind of just do it at some point in the day.
True. And so this transformation that you had, especially starting with having that bad relationship, coming up from that relationship, and now you switching from the health part of it, like how was that switch like? How did you come about making that decision and just letting go of thinking about him or working out because of him? How did that switch come about?
Um, it was a bad breakup. So
Mm.
I wanted to prove him wrong and I wanted to be hot. And I wanted him to see me the next year and to regret what he said about me. And it happened. One day he saw me. I
Mm.
didn't allow him to talk to me. I didn't allow him to see me. He called me 14 times. I didn't answer. And I was looking really good that
Mm.
day. And it felt good. It boosted my ego. I'm not going to lie. It boosts my ego very much. But now we're cool. We're cordial. I've let that go. That was petty. We were young. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's just what it is.
But it's just so disgusting that a person can think like that. Like you will think, okay, if whatever you're fat or not fat, okay, can how about we do this together? You know what I mean? That's better than
Wallahi.
yeah.
Wallahi.
It's just very strong language to use. You know, for someone that
But
you've been
maybe it was
around with,
the
someone
language
you're
I
dating,
needed.
and then you decide to
But
call
it
it
was what
that.
it was what I needed. Maybe at the time, you see, it
Yeah.
was something that he thought was
Mm.
going to be negative, but it turned out a positive for me.
Yeah. That's
Mm,
crazy. That's
mm,
amazing. Now, how do you maintain the
absolutely.
consistency and the discipline to keep going still?
You versus you. Do you love
Yeah.
yourself enough? Do you want to be healthy? Do you want to live a long life? Do you want to feel good? Do you want to look good in your clothes? Do you want to shop at Zara without having to constantly be worried about not having a size? So all
Mm.
those things remind me of, hey, you have to make sure. I don't want to be skinny now. I'm not trying to be skinny, but I'm at least trying to
Mm.
get some fit in at least a medium at Zara.
You know, I'm thinking you were probably gonna say because part of your job also, with confidence. But I know you've already had this confidence overall, even before you even started your journey. But did it
Mm-hmm.
add into it, like just with your work and everything, the way you're maybe how you appear to
Yeah.
people and how
Yeah.
everything it is,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
because
Definitely. Yeah.
like some people just think it's easy to go to the gym and just
Mm-mm.
work out,
It is not
especially when
easy.
you at a certain weight and then you change your whole body. Because I see
Mm-hmm.
how you are now. You look completely
Mm-hmm.
different. The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything. You just see it. Even in a picture, you can tell so many things in a photo. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it is amazing, but it's very difficult. It's very
Yeah.
difficult. Even for me, who's already been
Mm-hmm.
working out forever, it's still hard to
Every
do.
day,
Like,
every day you wake up and you
yeah,
go to school or you go to work because what?
yeah,
You like money.
yeah.
And what does money do for you?
Mm,
All the things you need. Now, the way you wake up to go to school or the way you wake up to go to work is the way you wake up to work out. You show up for yourself. You show up for a higher
yeah,
commitment. You show up
yeah.
because the results
Yeah, but it's for a
and
lot of
those
people
results
don't
mean
really
a lot.
understand that they don't have the discipline. The
No,
discipline
no,
and
please, that's
consistent is actually one
excuses.
of the most important thing.
I hate excuses. Working
You
out has
know,
also changed my work ethic. I hate
mm,
excuses. I hate
of
procrastination.
course,
I
of course.
told you, I told you I was going to be a little late, but I made it
Yeah,
5:30.
there's a quote from Mike Tyson. He said, "Discipline is actually doing what you hate to do, but you do it like you love it." You know,
Mm,
there's a video of him saying that, and it's so true because every day when I'm about to go to the gym, I hate it.
mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
yesterday, me and Emma were out till a little bit like 8, 9 o'clock. And I was like, around, like, I'm going to the gym. She's like, you going to the gym? I'm like, yeah, because I
Mm-hmm.
said I was going to go do it. And I mean, in my mind, I'm like, I hate to do it at this time of the night, but I have to go do it.
Mm-hmm.
I got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
every time it's like that. Like the days where I'm so tired and you
Mm-hmm.
might think I'm not going to go or I'm not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or my mind
Yep.
thinks, oh, okay, maybe today is not the day we're going to go.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, we're going. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
going. So
I'm the same
that's
way.
kind of the discipline part. Is so different with motivation because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not motivated. Like I am not
Mm-mm.
motivated at all to go to the gym. I don't want to. But it's like this promise, this it's just like telling
Mm-hmm.
my mind that I have to do something and do it. And I realize
Yourself.
actually it becomes this mental
Exactly.
like what I realize actually it start to become this trust between you and yourself, right? You know how you train
Yes.
your muscles and it grows, right?
Yep.
It's the same way you train your brain. So the more you tell your brain something that you're gonna do, and if
Mm-hmm.
you keep doing it, you become stronger. Your mind trusts you
Mm-hmm.
when you're gonna do things. But every time
Mm-hmm.
you said I'm gonna do something, even if it's the littlest things like I'm gonna wash this or I'm gonna clean that, and you don't do it, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna go ahead and you don't do that, your mind starts to have this lack of trust with you. So
Absolutely.
even when you're gonna make big moves in your life, you're gonna think
Mm-hmm.
about it again, or you might not gonna be able to do it because there's no
Mm-hmm.
trust in there anymore. And that's what I realized. That's
Mm-hmm.
why, like with little things, I'm so picky with just getting up to do it because I feel like it has to be done. That's where the discipline comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And then the
Mm-hmm.
consistency, that's hard also, but they come together. I actually read a quote from Denzel Washington. It's so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday I was reading it to my wife. It was like, dreams without goals are just dreams, and ultimately they feel disappointment. Say, on the road to achieving your dreams, you must apply discipline, but more importantly, consistency. Because without commitment, you will never start, but without consistency, you will never finish. And it's like
Absolutely.
the most, like, it's
Mm-hmm.
so true. It's so true.
Mm-hmm.
Like these two, if you put it on anything, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna succeed in life. Yeah. Like what about your gym? Like did you work out in the gym, or were you only doing home workouts only?
I was working out from home for the first 6 months, but then I would go to the beach in the
Yeah.
evenings because I didn't want people to disturb me and
Okay.
tell me, sister, danga down, danga yoka speed be, danga squat, danga deadlift. Like, bro, can I be on my journey by
Mm,
myself? I don't need your comments. Thank you.
yeah.
And then I went to a gym after a year. I started going to the gym
Okay.
after
Did
a
did you
year.
feel any did you get any, like, did you feel intimidated walking in the gym? Like seeing other
Yes.
people, or were
Yeah,
you
you're like,
already
well, what am
feeling
I?
confident to
I was like, what am I gonna do in here? How am I supposed to work this? What is
mm,
good form? Like having to learn all those things. was
Yeah.
like, what is this? But I was able to do it.
What is it that you aspire to be? Because you talked about so many things, especially finding your purpose and finding your identity and overcoming that depression because of Africa, and now you are in a position, in a certain political, places and everything. And I just wonder, like, and curious, like, what are you aspiring to be?
I want to be the richest African woman, and the reason I want to be that is not because of myself, but it's because of what I can do
Mm-hmm.
for my people. I feel like we constantly have to
Mm-hmm.
beg the West, and when we beg them, these financial assistance comes with rules and regulations and comes with, you know, um, another angle, which is we'll be indebted to them in terms of our human capacity, human capital, um, land, all these things. So I want to be able to have money to be able to help Africa belong and be on the global stage, and not to just be a meal on the table, but to have a seat at the table and be at the forefront of decision making for what is best for our people and to be our own voices. And I think that's
Mm.
very important for us to do. And if I have to do that in any capacity, I will. So I don't want a lot of money for myself, because what do we use for money? What do we use money for? Sorry, to buy
Mm.
ticket, business class tickets, to enjoy a luxury life. I've been blessed to experience the downside of that and the upside of that. So I know what it feels like to have nothing,
Mm.
and I also know what it feels like to have everything that you want. And now all I just want is to be able to help my people and free my people from, mental
Mm.
slavery, physical slavery, and all these things. Of course, I can't change the entire world, but if I can change a few lives, I think that's very important
Mm.
and something very close to my heart.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I pray and I wish you all the best with that, inshallah,
Thank
that you
you.
be able
Thank
to
you.
have that, because when you say the riches, a lot of people might think of it that it's not possible, but it's possible.
Oh, yeah.
There's a prayer that Prophet Suleiman asked God,
Hmm.
Rabbi habli mulkan la yanbaghi li ahadin min ba'di. It was like to
Hmm.
give him a kingdom that he will never give anyone that ever
Hmm.
exists. It's a very powerful dua
Hmm.
that the more you do it, trust me, it's
Hmm.
possible, because if he could
Hmm.
do it, anybody can do it.
Hmm.
He
Absolutely.
was the richest of the richest that ever
Hmm.
existed.
Hmm.
So keep doing that dua, and
Hmm.
inshallah, it's gonna come, it's gonna happen, and
Hmm.
you already seem
Inshallah.
to be heading in that path. So
Hmm.
I wish you all the
Hmm.
best with that.
Thank you. Thank you, Bubakar.
Yeah. Well, this was a very
Thank you.
interesting podcast. I think this was the most interesting podcast I've ever had. I'm
Oh,
sure
thank
the editing,
you.
it's
Thank
going
you.
to be fire on me, but we will see we'll see how it
Okay.
goes. Yeah, I got a
Okay.
call from my
Um,
wife. You got a call.
I
It's
know.
it's amazing.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much. I really appreciate it. And I'm so
yeah.
proud of you for doing this. We need more young people and young voices. So I'm so proud of
Thank
you.
you,
And
thank
I
you.
also love your evolution. I love that you're doing everything. Like, you're just daring to do whatever you want to do. And that's what life should be about. Don't do what they tell you to do. Do what you want to do. And that's beautiful to see you in this light.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
appreciate that. I
the
appreciate that.
acting is so good. Please hurry up. Oh, I want to go to Hollywood. Please don't forget your auntie there. Let me
I
tell you,
think
when
I'm
you
tired
win
of
your
it
first
now.
Oscar,
I'm tired
I
of it.
don't think.
I'm trying to do more filmmaking now because I've
Okay.
figure like nobody's probably gonna pick me, so maybe gonna
Hmm.
start recording myself and actually do
Hmm.
film. Maybe start
Yeah.
making my own films.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
have
yeah.
so many ideas, so many things in my mind that I want to bring to
Mm.
life.
And
Maybe
you
I'm gonna
could
start
write
with that.
and writing
Yeah,
and writing.
because the acting, it takes so much it takes so much time,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I don't have that anymore. So I have to figure out
Hmm.
other ways to do. And I'm not getting any younger anymore. So
Yeah, yeah.
we'll see. But you never know.
Thank
But
you
Nafi,
so
appreciate you
much.
so much for doing
You're
this.
welcome.
And maybe another time we will do it in person. It will probably
Okay.
definitely be
Yeah,
better.
that would be
So maybe when
awesome.
I come to
Yeah.
Gambia, we'll actually do another one
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Okay. All
definitely.
right. Stay
All
right
right.
here.
Okay. And bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.